Welcome to Crafty Brewers, Tales Behind Craft Beer, the podcast that will increase your enjoyment of craft beer and your appreciation of the people who make it. We are in the Norwood Park neighborhood of Chicago with Jason Monk and Rick Julien from Illuminated Brew Works. I'm beer drinker and hellraiser Brian Noonan, and all my opinions are strictly my own. And you'll see why as we move on. Behind the camera is our executive producer, Cody Gough, and with me, as always, is the high priestess of hops, the matriarch of malts, the femme fatale of fermentation, the siren of suds. She's co-owner of Exit Strategy Brewing Company. She's Katherine Vallow. Hello.
Bonjour, hello. How are you?
Wow, are you French?
I'm always French.
Okay, very nice.
Literally never French.
Gentlemen, welcome. Rick is the sales manager, and he handles the production schedule here at Illuminated. And Jason is the man about town. He's the facilities manager. He's an assistant brewer. He welded everything in this building. He does anything that he needs to do to keep this place going. You also handle all the distribution, right?
Yep.
All right. That's too many jobs. How big is your business card? It's size of a poster board?
Flag size?
As long as it says manager on it, I'm fine.
Exactly. Yes.
So when everyone could, can I speak to your manager and be like, yes, me, but not really me.
Talk to that guy.
Used to be me,
I'm
not.
the other guy with manager on his card. It ain't me.
So we always start with a myth.
We do.
And we want you guys to get involved because I'm sure here at Illuminated, just looking around, there have to be many myths, some haunting stories.
So
Who knows
many.
What else?
So many.
What do you got for us, Katherine?
So I heard this recently, and it was one of these things when I hear stuff out in the world, it gets under my skin in such a way that, like, I feel like it's going to just bubble up and explode, and I might smack somebody, and then I save it until we talk here.
Did somebody move a chair?
I'm not going to do this with you. No, I absolutely refuse. Stop. So I was out in the world and heard someone behind me at a store say, the market's just so saturated now, all beer is boring. And I was like, all right, first of all, wrong and you're not paying attention. Secondly, wrong and you're not paying attention. But it also got me thinking, what better place to bust the idea that all beer is boring than here in the least boring atmosphere and brewery that we could possibly find, right? So the idea, we know that the market is pretty saturated. That's not a myth. That is an actual fact.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yes.
I walk the shelves and see all the stuff and just kind of scratch my head. And
Well, it's intimidating when you go into a big liquor store and there are hundreds of different beers.
but I think the thing, so yeah, that part, okay, cool.
That part
yeah,
is fact.
you can't spit without hitting a brewery anymore. No. Truly, which is great and fine for beer lovers. However, the idea that all beer is the same and all beer is boring is ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
Hit me with thoughts.
You want me to go first? Oh, my
Sure.
goodness. No, I know that sounds horrible.
Okay.
I know. It's just like we don't stick to style that often.
Okay.
They're recommendations for us, and then we do what we want with them. I mean, Lagunitas, if you want to talk big boys, you do the same thing the same way.
Yeah.
None of their beers are to style. None
No,
of their
that's true.
beers are boring.
Right.
Do we do simpler beers and we do more complex beers? Yes.
Well, and I think that's a great delineation to
Look
make.
at me, I'm
too.
getting angry. I'm crossing my arm because you're talking
Like-
about boring beer. Gosh, no,
Because
no.
you don't
Saying
make
other
boring-
people. Yes, many people have said, not us.
Oh,
but
no,
many
we don't
people.
believe that at all. But I think the important thing that you said was that stylistically you can have something that's simpler. You can have something that isn't as complex, but that doesn't make it boring. It can be a very solid, simple lager that's still amazing and delicious, right?
Yeah.
And then you guys, with your approach to brewing, I mean, you will do all of the things.
yes, I mean, we try to do the whole approach. We started with just Saisons, about having nice yeast character, and we were focusing on yeast, and we really wanted to push that. And we would go to every beer festival and be like, hey, where's the IPA? We don't make an IPA. And I'm trying to remember how long it took for us to hold out and make an IPA. And then when we finally did, we were like, well, I'm from New England. We're only going to make hazies.
There it is.
Okay.
You know, and that's it. And I, being from New England, probably have tried every single version of what a hazy could be. And Midwestern hazies are Midwestern hazies. They're not East Coast hazies. It's very weird. It's,
Yeah.
Well, and that goes back to what you've all been saying. You have a hazy IPA. Everyone is different. Lagers, everyone is different. I've had pilsners that are different across the board. Every brewery we go to, the style is the same.
Yeah.
But the flavor, everything else about it is completely
The
different.
profile is
Yeah.
completely different.
Or their brains getting confused and they're starting to compare macro beers. And they're
You know what?
because you know what? Miller,
I think you're
Budweiser,
right.
you talk, they're really, really similar.
Yeah.
Is there differences? Yeah. Can you pick favorites? Yeah. But boy, they're similar.
Oh, they're
Sure.
right. It's the
Yeah.
same. It's the same crap you're getting every single time. Speaking of not crap, the array here, which is absolutely beautiful and not boring at all. What's like one of the things on the table that right now you're so excited about? That's one of the more
The least boring.
yeah, the least boring. Like,
Talk
the best
least
example
boring.
of like
Talk Tony's.
So when we first made Tony's Humble Pie, we had come to the brewery that day. We knew we were making another big white stout. We did not know that Anthony Bourdain had passed away the night before.
Oh, wow.
I
So
didn't put the two together, and my heart
didn't
just
either.
broke a little bit.
the guy who hated not beer,
Yeah.
like beer that tastes like beer,
Yeah.
I think would appreciate that beer.
Oh,
Can we take a side note? Because I have your Irish stout here. What makes one stout this color and a white stout not?
Absence of roasted barley.
Oh, that's all?
that's it.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, there are other things there, but
Okay.
what's the major difference? You're
Well, I knew, but other people.
oh,
didn't know.
exactly. No,
I'm asking for the public, you know.
Yeah.
the major difference is there's no roasted barley, so you're
Okay.
not getting your coffee notes, your the chocolate notes. None of those are there coming from the roasted barley.
What then notes do you get from a white stout? I mean, this one has blueberries, lactose, vanilla, and cinnamon in it, so you're going to get all of that.
we tend to flavor them,
Okay.
and a white stout is a. I was actually discussing this with our tasting rep. It's a cleaner canvas to start with.
Okay.
You still get the body of a stout because
Right.
your
Right.
mash temps is what determines the body of your stout, and you make bigger sugars when you make a stout. That the yeast goes, "Nah, I can't eat that shit," and then goes on and leaves it, and that's why a stout has a bigger body because there's more bigger sugars left behind.
Right. Right.
So we brew it the same way that you brew a stout, except where the grain bill does not have the chocolate malt, does not have the roasted barley.
Very
So
good.
the Flake
This sounds
notes
incredible.
and
Well, he is Rick Julien. He is the sales manager, and he runs the production schedule for Illuminated Brew Works. And this man right next to me is Jason Monk. He does pretty much everything else. He handles all the distribution. He is the facilities manager. He helps with brewing. He welds things. He helps other brewers weld things. He makes things out of scratch, and you built the entire brew house.
yeah,
So that's not nothing.
it's not nothing.
That's pretty cool.
I would say that we're the most DIY of DIY. We are the definition. Open the dictionary. Illuminated Brew Works.
Well,
That's it.
not only the biggest DIY, Katherine, would you agree this is the most unique tap or brew house tap room
So
that
I'm a
we've been in?
neurospicy human, right? We were a little imbalanced in here, have been for a very long time, and it's feeding into all of my parts. Like I can take in so much stimulus right now. It's great.
Yeah.
It's just dopamine hit after dopamine hit looking around here.
I mean,
it's pretty wonderful.
We're a bunch of weirdos, and we embrace it.
You know what? That's the best way to be.
Yeah.
So you guys opened Illuminated in 2021. Brian,
We opened here in 2021.
oh, wait, you were brewing. That's right. You were brewing somewhere else before. How did you make where were you brewing first, and how did you make the jump to this location?
So we started brewing in the West Loop. We were in the basement of a new Nabisco factory.
Okay.
We were actually right across the street from where Guinness opened.
Was that right?
We were right in the smack heart of it.
Okay.
So if we say stone's throw from the new Guinness Brewery, it's not an exaggeration.
Okay.
You could pick up a stone and hit the Guinness Brewery.
And is that why some of your beers have cookie notes and cake notes? Because you were in the Nabisco basement. Is that how that turned up?
Now with more elves? How many elves are in your beer?
The elves all stayed in Nabisco.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't bring them here for
No,
cheaper
no.
labor?
No, they really like their home.
You must be this tall to brew this beer.
But
You were taller.
Another
than that.
height joke.
I was down here.
Okay,
You're
okay.
at least here.
No, I'm like, yeah.
So, all right. So what then led to the move?
So we wanted to open near a train line. We wanted to have an actual overhead door. We wanted to have things that made making beer easier. So
And a
we
tap
looked
room.
for about
Sure.
3 years, and it was just we didn't want to be next to another brewery. We didn't
Right.
want to do that. So I drove by this place for a year.
Really?
And they never really put a size on it. And then, because if you saw the front, it doesn't look like it's 5,000 square feet.
No.
So all of a sudden, they put a number on it, and I said, made the phone call. I can walk from my house.
That's always
it's-
nice.
My commute's just cut. And it turned out to be a pretty good move.
It's a great space.
We moved during COVID, so I moved an entire brewery in 3 days.
Now, because I mentioned that you built your brew house,
Yep.
which you did. Is this the brew house that was in the basement at Nabisco, or did you get some? Obviously, you've added some.
We were going to
stuff.
upgrade. We were going to make some upgrades coming out, but we had bought a new chiller. COVID was kind of in the throw, so we were just kind of like, well, let's put everything we have on the floor. We bought one more tank, and that was it. So-
Nice.
I'm stuck on moving a brewery in 3 days because I know what rigging fermenters looks like.
Yeah,
That's incredible.
I did it.
I'm sure you did.
And again, that's not
the
nothing.
list of things that you do is incredibly long. So this is
I
no
call him our
surprise.
Renaissance man because he just does.
Truly.
They go, what is that? He's the now that you say you want manager, he's our Renaissance manager.
Renaissance manager.
Yes.
Renaissance
like
manager
that.
is great. Also,
Yeah.
how much jerky do you make? Because I feel like if you're going to be a true Renaissance person, you're probably smoking and drying meat somewhere.
I do have a smoker, but I haven't done that yet.
All right, we'll get there.
I'll get
We'll
there. I'll get there.
Illuminated brand jerky. You're welcome, world.
So you guys were there. But before that, Brian, who was another one of the founders and the head brewer, you guys had been at different breweries. You had been doing different things. How did the core group come together?
Me and Brian
start?
met on a Sunday morning skateboarding in the West Loop on Grand Avenue.
Okay.
We used to call it the race ramp. And, we're a bunch of, at the time, early 40s, whatever. Drinking beer on a Sunday
Elderly
morning.
gentlemen.
And this is before my son was born. So it was, hey, I'm going to go back to the garage and make some beer today. And I was like, well, I worked at a brewery in Providence when I was 20. Let's go.
Nice.
And then the ball just started rolling. Matt and Brian really wanted to put a brewery together, but at the time the laws were not what we wanted to open a dive bar that
Okay.
made its own beer,
Okay.
but you couldn't do that 10 years ago.
So what could you do?
You could just open a brewery.
Just a brewery.
So we opened a brewery.
But you could have a tap room at the brewery, right? Or no?
I'm trying to remember you could, but it wasn't.
Couldn't advertise it
Couldn't
as
have
a
a-
bar.
Yeah, I guess.
Couldn't have anything else. That was part of it, right? Like you
could
couldn't
do the
have anything
brewery.
else. You could have your beer and you could serve like water.
Right.
And then
Right,
that's
yes.
what you could be, right? Like that's where you had to live. And like,
Yeah.
oh, do you have anything for anyone that just no, I have water, enjoy, or I have all the beer that I make. So you could be that.
Because I
There was
remember
one
going
license.
into those
You were either a
places.
production and you were self-distributing,
Yeah.
or you were a brew pub and you used a distributor.
Yeah, and
Okay.
you had to make food and so on.
And it
yeah.
was the tiers we briefly talked prior to starting filming about like Illinois liquor laws, and this is one of the things is that this
Yeah.
tiers of how you had to progress through this, and you couldn't just be like,
Yeah.
I just want to dive bar.
Yeah. So
Which is
we
the most magical place on earth. I have dive bars.
we talked to Jerry Nelson. He was down the street on Hubbard before he moved to Niles, and we kind of saw what he was using, which is basically what we're using now. I think Microphone used to do the same thing. Square mash tun. We actually took a trip up past north of Madison and visited a man named James who was making dairy equipment into brew systems.
Oh, wow.
And me being the welder, I really just went to be like, yeah, guys, I can do this. And then we just, so we did that. And I built we changed to mash tun. I built our initial brew house with all the parts all in for $2,500.
Wow. I knew this would get a response out of you.
Absolutely not.
And we used that I think we used that for 2 years. And
I
then
wish you had had Jason's number one back then, don't you?
Well, here's the best part. This is where it really makes me.
This is where the
we used
Renaissance
we used that for
comes in.
2 years, and Chad from Chad Beavers from
Little Beaver.
Little Beaver
Oh.
Yeah.
was like, I need to upgrade my mash tun. I'm like, lo and behold, I will sell you my mash tun. So he offered me $3,000 for it.
I am going to smack you in the face.
So I sold him my mash tun and built another one for less. But my mash tun, my original mash tun, is still making beer somewhere. He sold it to another brewery who's still using that mash tun.
That's incredible stuff.
That's wild.
That's great.
So-
I mean, it is lovely to know that one could do this. It's just that some of us get suckered into like signing away, like a limb, possibly a kidney.
Yeah.
You know, it's fine. It's fine.
So I mentioned the cookies and the cake batter, and you guys are known for experimenting, but you also do, as you mentioned before, you do traditional styles. You just have your own twist on them. As the guy who handles the production schedule, Jason, what are you looking for? Like what are you down the road? I mean, you're out there talking to the people and stuff, but what do you look for?
You're trying to catch lightning in a bottle, which is almost impossible. But you're trying to find out what that next thing is going to be. Like right now, no one in the industry could have told you that the 19.2 stovepipe double IPA that's in that 8.5, 9. What's the cutoff in Illinois? Is it 9? I can't remember
Something,
now.
yeah.
Yep, is the best-selling beer for anyone.
Really?
Period.
That's
It
incredible.
is. Beer is down right now.
Yeah.
It just is.
We've talked about this. Yeah, I mean, it just like
Because
at the end of
RT
the day, it just is.
Because RTDs have taken.
We could do a whole
RTD
episode.
is ready to drink cocktails.
Sure. RTDs, weed,
Seltzers.
seltzers.
Weed.
Yes.
RTD weed and seltzers have
Yeah.
killed our market share, and so yeah, I mean, it's there's no lie in beer is down.
Yeah.
However, within beer being down, we're still trying to forecast and like
Yes.
get a
Yeah.
feel for what.
The West Coast is back.
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yes.
Okay.
So the West Coast is back. We're going to be doing within the next month or two a collab with a local yeast maker
Nice.
to do a West Coast. I have one of the next beers we're brewing is because not that we can put it in a 19.2,
Right.
but we're doing an imperial IPA. So it's a big, clear, bitter imperial IPA.
Delicious.
Yes.
I mean, two beers that we've never done before either. So it's really like, let's
that's
see,
gonna be your
let's see
first-
what we can do.
We've never done a West Coast.
Really?
Okay. I mean, bring me all
'cause
those
I
pine
think
trees.
it must have been before the show. Jason, you were saying being from the East Coast, you always just made East Coast.
Yeah.
That was it.
No. It was a thing that like, well, Illuminated we never made an IPA.
Right.
We'd actually made an IPA called the Race Ramp IPA because that's where we'd met skateboarding. But then that was like before we were licensed, and we made it one more time, and we screwed it up. Okay. And Brian was disheartened. He was like, "Oh, I'm never making an IPA again." And it was just like we just got bad hops.
Yeah, you got
it was like
one bad batch.
Yeah.
Is it a matter of chasing trends? Is it trying to predict trends? Is it you guys going, okay, this is what we do. We're not really going to worry about that.
We 50-50 it.
Okay.
We like what we like.
Yeah.
All of us like what we like, and are not. But then also, we want to find out. We want to sell beer. We want to make money.
Wait a minute. That's
we
weird.
make more dry hop double IPAs probably than we personally want to.
Right.
But they're good, and we sell them, and they make money. You know, so we do a little bit more of those than we'd want.
There's a weird balance there, though, right? Of like, I need to be a profitable business so I can continue to do some of the cool stuff that I like to do. So I then have to offer some of these things that I maybe wouldn't consume every single day all the time, but
Yeah.
we know that there's a market for.
But there was also a difference in how we started in 2015, 2016, when we started putting beers out in the market. We just followed that Pipeworks model. Well, if I keep making a different beer every week, the Binny's and News Store, they're just going to keep taking every beer I make. So I'm getting shelf space because it's hot. Everybody wants it.
Okay.
And I'm like back then, we were making 100 cases of 750 bottles. So like we would do 100 cases on Wednesday, and the next beer would be ready on Saturday. We would do 100 more cases, and then we would just, the fermenters are going crazy, and we're rolling. I mean, we were pumping beer out. I was bottling 100 cases of 750s every Wednesday and Saturday, probably for a straight year.
Jeez.
Okay.
And that was the boom. I mean, that was booming. Like everybody was moving. But then as soon as we put one beer in a can, Orange Sunshine went into a 12-ounce can.
Yeah.
The Bomber Sales, Pipeworks saw it too. Bomber Sales went through the floor. You couldn't sell a piece
No,
of
you
glass.
couldn't move a bomber to save your life at one point.
But it was way more profitable and it was way better. It was easier because I could control it. I mean, I think it's kind of crazy. Since 2015 until now, I'm pretty much responsible for every drop of beer packaged and delivered from this business.
That's why you have manager on your flag size business
But
card.
that's just like, you think about that. It's like,
that's
gravity
crazy.
to that that's like,
it's
holy
like,
shit.
Yeah, that's a lot of drops.
so that's when I see, like, when you guys did the Funky Town episode, and I'm like, oh man, like, I think it's great. They have all the spirit. They have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, when you
and they'll find out and they'll get their niche and they'll run with it.
Yeah.
But they'll realize we're a drop in the pond
Yeah.
when it comes to how much beer we make versus how much beer is out there.
Yeah.
So that's why I also don't think it's saturated. Like, we're not even there yet.
No.
It's not-
That's interesting.
why? Okay, so explain that.
I agree with this completely.
like,
Go
we
ahead.
made-
Go.
both of you.
What did we make?
Explain-
2,000 barrels of beer last year?
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, that's
Which,
Budweiser dumped that down the drain in one day. I mean, that's, it's...
okay.
And people are still, they're going out there and they're drinking. So someone could be bored with beer, but did she honestly try all 300 flavors on the shelf?
Right.
absolutely not.
And they're
harder.
still trying new stuff.
harder.
We're still going to new places and
Yeah.
trying new beers. We have to talk about the surroundings because for me, part of the enjoyment of the beer is where I'm drinking it. Whether it's on my deck or whether I come into a tap room like Illuminated and I feel like
your eyeballs go crazy?
I don't have to put on airs. I could just come in here, sit down and chill. Because it is the most eclectic room I have seen in all my years. How did this come to be? What's the theme? I know there's no real theme, but
it's our lodge.
the theme. How did it come? Yeah.
This is our lodge. This is where we hang out. We want you to come in and just have a beer and hang out. Me and Rick have talked about this forever. We make fresh local beer.
We
beautiful
are so
thing.
tired of the word craft.
Local beer.
Craft is hard.
Sorry for I know that's the name of the podcast. And
No,
it
it's
makes
true.
sense.
It's, just it's fine.
But
Joe never,
You're
It's-
crafting beer on
We
a
are
local
crafting
level.
beer, exactly.
it's all right.
So
We'll make it work.
Because we're making.
We've done block parties and we've had guys walk up to the table and try samples and like, oh, craft beer. I can't really. I was like, no, you can't pound 30 of them, but you can have 5 of them and you'll still feel the same.
Right. And you'll enjoy them
Yes.
because there's something to them.
There's a
And-
whole lot more
raise the
flavor.
stigma, and I think a lot more people will start drinking a lot more.
How many times have we said here on the show that one of the greatest things about our industry and people making cool and interesting beer, you're not going out to get shitty. You're not going out to get absolutely wasted. What you can do is you can go out and you can appreciate the skill behind every single drop, every single can, every single thought that goes into this product, right? But I do think the word craft has become a little bit off-putting in the sense of like, oh, well, it's not for me if it's so crafty. Like, it's not.
I like local.
I live in this neighborhood.
Right.
I've met so many people in this neighborhood that come here and say this is the best place in the hood because there is no place like this up here.
No.
There's cops and firefighter bars, and they'll go and hang out. But I get 50% cops, firefighters. I mean, we get a
lot
section of like.
I mean, but we also get accountants and we get streets and sand and we get
Well,
But you need variety,
Seems
I mean.
it's accessible. One, there's a lot of
That's
different
it right
beers.
there.
You've got something for everybody. Not that, but it's and when I say that, it's not like we're a macro brew trying to please everybody. No, but if I come in and I only like a lager, well, you got a lager.
We got a lager.
Or if
That's
I like IPA, you got an IPA.
Yeah, unless we screw up, the lager will always be.
Right.
that's our number one seller in the tap.
Really. So, but the point is, people can come in here and feel comfortable, and they might walk in at first if they've never been here and go, "Oh, is this cool?" And then they'll sit down at the bar and talk to the bartender and have a beer and talk to somebody next to them, and they'll go, "Yeah, this is cool. I could be here, forever." You use the term lodge, and we've got the eyeball, and there's a lot of symbols in Illuminated Brew Works. Can you explain some of them?
We like secret societies.
All right.
They are really cool.
Yeah,
It's so much fun.
and so much. I mean, if you're going to start a business and you want to have fun, you might as well just start your own beer cult. Buy your own fez. We did.
Nice.
So we have custom fezzes. People in our beer cult can buy those custom fezzes.
Wow. All right.
We have our lodge meetings once a month. So
Very cool.
we do not have a, well, talk about annoyance. You can't have mug clubs in Illinois as a brewery.
that's right.
Because everybody has to have the same price when they walk in the door.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
So no mug clubs, no happy hours. You can do a happy hour, but it's got to be something else.
And you have to
accessible
advertise it like a month in
right,
advance.
right.
Exactly. Yes.
Get in Illinois.
Exactly. But no, so we don't have a. You join our cult.
All right.
All right.
I like that.
You're a cult member. You get
Do
a
you
secret
guys
name.
come up in a van? Like if I call you and I say, Jason, I want to join the cult, is there a
we've said
van
too
and a
much.
hood that I'm waiting in the yard? And
We've said too much.
I'm sorry. Never mind. We'll keep it a secret. Now is the point of the program. It's my favorite part. Well, of all the parts we do, we take a break. Then we come back and we sample a beer. We talk about beer.
Yeah.
Yes, we are at Illuminated Brew Works in the Norwood Park neighborhood of Chicago. If you want to check them out, it's ibw-chicago.com. Everything you need to know about Illuminated Brew Works. I'm getting a brew. All right, we're at Illuminated Brew Works at 6186 North Northwest Highway in Chicago, Illinois. ibw-chicago.com is the website, and this is the time when we sample. Now, you talked about at the beginning this Tony's Humble Pie, which is a white stout with blueberries, lactose, vanilla, and cinnamon. Tell the origin story of Tony's again.
I don't even think it was going to be as what it ended up being at that point. But when we came in that morning and we heard what happened the night before,
Right.
Anthony Bourdain had passed away, we were kind of like, all right, well, he was a flavored beer kind of guy.
Yeah.
And like, let's just go big. Like, let's just do an homage, and there it is.
So when you decide to go big, do you
ABV
keep adding?
flavors.
Well,
like,
no, but I mean, yeah. Do you have a list of adjuncts, or do you put one in and go, okay, now we'll add the second one, or do you kind of get an idea before you put it all together?
I think that all came together that day.
Okay.
Like, and then kind of grew. Like, you add one ingredient that you've never used before, and then you kind of see where that rolls.
Okay.
So do you keep? And then the cinnamon rolled in, and they're like, oh, that was a nice add, and basically ended up just tasting like your blueberry pie, and it was
Perfect.
Sounds incredible. I ride hard to warm things up. I really do. That's
I'm gonna
not
start bringing a
awful.
Bunsen burner, so
Right.
that
Right, so I can just warm
you
my
ride
ears.
hard till it gets hot. Is that what you're saying? Is that what you said?
Sorry, Mom. I apologize to my mom in almost every episode because I'm saying something where she's sitting on her couch and being like, Katherine!
Catherine.
Every time. Katherine!
Now we had a sour conversation before.
Right.
This is not. It's got a tiny bit from the blueberries.
Correct.
But I like blueberries.
And it's blueberry puree. So
really?
you do
It's a huge
get
difference between
you do
puree
a
and anything else.
huge difference. You're getting the skin note in there as well.
Okay.
That is fucking good.
Yeah.
And there's the little E that I knew we were going to get today, but I can't help it because that's incredible.
Because you've been riding it hard. This is really
Enough.
good.
This is
you
so-
said it. I'm just
I
quoting
did
you.
say
I
it.
don't.
No, that's
Can't
right.
get mad at me.
That's true. This is
So a lot of people have strong feelings about lactose. How did the if you were going for blueberry pie, you had to have
We
some
had to
milk
put
sugar,
we had to
right?
sweeten it. We had to
Yeah.
put some sugar in it. It lactose also. Why do they put lactose in Dry-Hopped Double IPAs?
because they can.
Because they can, and also it gives it
Try
gives
a
it
mouthful of beer.
it gives it more body.
Okay.
that's the thing that lactose is going to do every time. It's going to just. It sounds really. It's just going to like big it a little bit. It's just going
Yes.
to grow it just a little bit.
So it's blueberry pie idea. So lactose for sweetness,
Yeah, definitely.
and then
Yeah.
lactose also
Yeah.
for body.
yeah, it's
Now it's I like
it's
this quite a
so
bit.
balanced.
It's like the MSG for beer.
That's usually our fight.
Oh my god,
There's nothing wrong with MSG. You
monosodium
know they
lactose.
publish
You know,
that now
it's-
that
MSG is totally fine.
yep.
So is
What's the-
lactose.
There's no MSG in the beer.
So is lactose.
What's the trick of getting all the adjuncts balanced? Is it
That's-
just that you try? You
do.
more, a little less?
You try in these size glasses. You just put some in. You start balancing in stuff by the dropper,
Okay.
and then you blow it up.
Yep.
And and we're dealing with, as we like to say, an agricultural product. And
It's a
so
great term. I've not heard that one yet, and I like that very, very much.
it's the blueberry doesn't taste the same every time we bring it in.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Yeah.
The cinnamon is not the same every time we bring it in. The vanilla and lactose, yeah.
Yeah,
Sure,
we
right.
try to do the same process every time, but
You do the same, and
it's
then
going to
we
be
taste. We added more blueberry to this one than we did before because we tasted it and we went, not enough.
Okay.
Needs,
This is one of the most balanced adjuncted stouts I think I've ever consumed in my adulthood, which has been some time. We're all Gen Xers. It's been a while. This is incredible, and I do think it's a really nice homage to, again, someone who liked just beer-flavored beer, which has its place, but this is also
and
very culinary.
You would appreciate the way we went.
Exactly.
That's the thing.
Thank
This
you.
is so
Yes.
culinary and it's balanced. I also was getting a little bit, so I know blueberry pie. I was also getting a little of like cool blueberry granola, like just something that's because like a little grainy and little blueberry
because
granola.
it's still a stout. There's still
so beautiful.
to get it up to 8%. There's still a whole lot of grain in there.
a lot of grain in
Yeah.
it. I mean,
So this may be a dumb question,
Green
but
out's
that's why
awesome.
I'm here to ask those dumb questions.
We love dumb questions.
Because I'm fascinated
And
by
green
how a beer like this comes together. So when you came in, you were initially just brewing a white stout, right?
Correct.
Okay, so did you start with the full, however many barrels you would be brewing for that white stout, and then pull some out, and then start experimenting with the adjuncts? How does that work?
Pretty much, yeah. You just pull out a pint worth. You don't have
Okay.
to pull out a bunch, but you kind of talk about where we're going to go with this. And and at this point in time, I really don't remember where that conversation went. I mean, I think this was a good 5 years ago we made this
Oh,
beer.
okay. Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's been that long. Like, it was in a bomber, and we haven't done bombers in
Jeez.
God,
Yeah, that was the last time we did it. Was in Bomber. Yeah.
I think the last beer we ever did in bombers was Millennial Munchies, and that was like,
You are correct.
and you could probably still go find a bottle of that at Capone's,
Yes, you can.
and it's still
It's still good.
it's
Yeah.
still great.
For people who are going to come into Illuminated for the first time after they see this episode and hear you guys and see what Cody is photographing, especially can't wait to show the bathroom. What's a good entry level Illuminated, and for somebody who's really advanced or like willing to experiment, if somebody's a little more, I guess, conservative in their beer drinking and somebody's more adventurous, where would those two people come in?
There.
Yeah.
Right
So we
there.
do 3 year rounds, and they're all entry level beers. At least I like to think of them that
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
Absolutely.
We have Trust, which is our year round lager.
Okay.
It's got Saaz hops in it, which is German as German gets, and it's got Styrian. Shoot,
Also,
is it Styrian Dragon or Styrian Wolf? Brian, I just called you Brian, Jason.
Yeah, it's one of the Styrians.
Yeah, it's one. It's a Slovenian hop.
is that like a Targaryen? No? No?
I don't know, but a Lannister
So
pays his
once
tax.
again, it's pretty much a traditional German lager, except for it's us again. It's a premium lager because it's 6%,
Oh, wow, okay.
and then we throw the Styrian hop variety in there too to give it kind of a grassy berry note, along with what's going on with it. Because once again, it's ours.
It's ours.
We always want to make something ours.
Yes.
We don't want we love beer, we love all the styles, but when it comes down to it, we're gonna throw. I say we. Brian, our head brewer, our owner head brewer, is going to throw his tweak to make it ours.
Okay. So that's one.
That's one. Orange Sunshine, which is right here, which is what I'm drinking right now.
First beer we ever made.
Really?
Yeah.
And what is Orange Sunshine?
That's our citrus Saison.
Oh, that's
The first batch of that. Our first 5-barrel fermenter was delivered to Untitled on Hubbard. We made a first batch of Orange Sunshine into that, and that was our first beer ever made.
Wow.
And we've been making it ever since.
So that's always
So
here.
it's a
These are
house.
so special.
It's a house Saison yeast.
Timmy.
Timmy, good old Tim, our house Saison. We named him Tim.
sure, of course. Why not?
It's gentle. It's not a. You had Cloudbuster earlier.
Yeah, yeah.
Which comes from Omega, which is a local yeast maker. Gentleman lives. One of the owners lives just north of here in Park Ridge.
Omega, come at us. We would love a sponsorship.
Exactly. In fact, we use 80%, 90% their yeast.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The product is incredible.
It's
incredible.
out of this world. And we can drive and get it in 15 minutes.
That works.
Locally sourced.
Exactly.
Locally sourced.
We can
for
place
local
the
beer.
order the day before or 2 days before, kind of depending on what we need, how long it takes to grow it up, and then we go down there and get it. But this is a gentle Saison yeast, unlike what that is. This I like to say when I'm doing my good old sales pitch, because that's what I do. We use the Saison yeast to dry it down,
Yeah.
to get us a nice, dry, crisp beer. It's got a fair amount of wheat in it. So if you're a wheat beer drinker,
Well, I thought you said weed for a minute.
oh, it's got a fair amount of wheat in it.
Dude.
I mean, if we could do that, we would right now. But we've got to keep those channels separate.
I got it.
And then we used lemon and orange zest. And then because
Just the zest.
And there's
Just the
more.
just the zest, no juice. So it is. It's not. If you use the juice, it would become cloying at that
Right,
point.
yeah.
Right.
So it's just that bright, somewhat bitter flavor from the orange and lemon zest, and then 3 hops are in there as well, which everybody goes. And then when I say that, I'm like, but it's not hoppy because the Mandarin of Bavaria.
Oh, I love that hop. It smells like tangerines.
Exactly. All 3 hops pair up with the citrus flavors that are in it.
So that's
So once
2.
again, that's 2, and then there's a saying in beer world: you don't get to pick your flagship;
Okay.
it picks you.
Makes sense.
You think you know? You really think you know what's going to be the thing?
Yeah.
So I can't remember when we brewed it first, and we have it here. Astronaut Juice is a double dry hop, double IPA. So it's 8%. It's got that was our first thing the TTB ever shut us down on because we call it Astronaut Orange Juice,
Oh, okay.
but we don't put any orange juice in it, so we can't
Okay.
call it that.
Can't call it orange
Sure.
So it's now just Astronaut Juice.
Wait, the TTB had time to answer an email?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Hang on.
Oh yeah.
Hang
When they don't like it,
Sure, so that's when they're
that's
quick
when
to
they
reply?
have time.
Heard.
Yes, exactly. So it's got all of with the hops that are in it. It's got the citrus flavors plus a whole bunch of stone fruit flavors too. It's great. It's juice. That's the idea. It's a double dry hop, double IPA, New England style. It's wonderful.
Juice. Straight tropical juice.
Exactly. We lowered the ABV 2%. So how do you make alcohol? You give yeast sugar. So we gave the yeast less sugar.
Yeah.
That's the only thing we did. Hops are still the same. Everything's still the same. We just use less grain, and that
So
became
it's calorie conscious.
It's calorie
if I were
conscious.
On a diet,
Yes,
I could
exactly.
drink a lot of that.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
So we lowered the ABV 2% to 6%. So now it's a double dry hopped IPA, not
not-
double IPA. And it's taking over our world. We sell more junior astronaut juice than anything else.
That's
It's still because this has less beer flavor because there is enough sweetness from it being
yep.
8% and so on. Junior, very approachable, still has beer flavor, but still has all of those tropical citrus, stone fruit notes in it from the hops, and it's just we sell the living daylights out of it.
Perfect. Well, this is the point in the program where we used to do bad customer behavior. Sometimes we do that, but now we also do any sort of beer behavior. It's a combination of beer and behavior. It's beer behavior that Katherine comes up with and presents us with, and then we ride it hard till it's swarm.
Okay.
That's the new T-shirt.
Yeah.
It's not.
Ride it hard till it's warm.
No, and I make our shirts, so I'm not going to know.
Maybe I freelance.
I think Illuminated just got a new shirt.
Not doing it. Not doing
Would
it.
you guys wear those shirts in here? Sure.
I
ride
think,
it.
I think that's
of
the new
course.
Illuminated shirt.
Illuminated will take.
I mean, if you'd like to
you guys
collab
can
on
have
it,
that. Yeah, we
I
can
will get
collab.
you to collab.
Absolutely.
First person to get one is your mom.
Obviously.
Of course.
In like a tote bag.
With an apology letter.
With an apology note from everyone.
Get her car wrapped
Sorry,
with that
not
slogan.
Sorry, but sorry.
Sorry, Mom.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I just signed everyone.
Exactly.
All right,
All right,
what do we got?
so beer behavior. So last year, the craft beer conference was in Nashville, and one of the biggest talking points of the conference was consumership. Who is consuming, who is not consuming, what generations are consuming, what generations aren't. Now, we, as we have mentioned, sitting at this table, mostly, are all, you're not sitting at the table yet. So we're all Gen Xers.
Someday, Cody.
Which means, what?
Someday, Cody. He goes, someday, Cody.
Someday you can come to the grown-ups, grown-up table. It's going to be great. But we're all Xers, and we are a heavily consuming generation.
Yeah.
And we probably always will be. Like, this generation does a lot. Our younger generation, specifically younger millennials, what we talked about at the conference was they are just not drinking like
They do not drink
expected.
like us, no.
They don't drink
No.
like us.
But they do drink.
They do drink.
They do, but they also have got, so then moving into where, like at the state conference, the state craft brewers conference
Yeah.
was recent, and there was a representative that spoke about how they are drinking. So what you heard, when we heard initially the millennials aren't consuming and they're actually taking market share because of, we talked about it earlier, RTDs, weed, seltzer, right?
Right.
So they're interested in that, which has put a hit on beer and wine specifically. Turns out that now one of the things that we're noticing is that millennials are in fact drinking, but they just have less brand loyalty than our generation, which I think is fascinating. Because, like, I know for me, I like who I like. I will go back there a million times. I will know everybody by name. And that's it, right? Like, neighborhood places.
Yep.
Younger generations, we're finding, are more interested in what are you doing for the community? What are your charitable options? Are you like holding a puppy fair every weekend? Like, you know, what are you doing that's beyond your product? And I think that is fascinating when it comes to consumership and consumer behavior. Have you guys noticed here anything similar? Do you find that you're getting like younger drinkers in and maybe seeing them like once or twice? Or is your base more this?
No, I think what we did here is we opened a bar just like we planned.
Right.
I did not realize that I would be a promotional manager, an event planner, all the things that just come along with opening a tap room. You have to have events. You have to throw these cool things.
Yeah.
But I do treat it like my house, where I had a skateboard show. I brought in a whole bunch of group of guys. Skateboarders are very loner. They really don't come out in packs, you know, but they did. They came out for that show.
Those are like snow leopards.
And we benefited the Logan Square skate park rebuild. You know, but those are the kind of things you have to do. You have to engage them. You have to do stuff that they want to do. And you also have to have an array of flavors, because someone's going to say, I don't like beer-flavored beer.
Right.
But most of the people like Trust. I mean, they'll drink Trust and they'll be happy with it. But yeah, you just sign on for stuff that you're not expecting.
Right.
But we do the dog thing, and we do the thing. We also have opened a space that's very safe. Yeah. Like, we are the UN of the neighborhood.
We are very much.
Like,
which I think is something
we don't like. If a heated political discussion starts at the bar, we end it at the bar. We're like, no, we don't really do that here.
Okay.
You know, and if there's anything here that offends you, I mean, like, we try to check all the boxes. Like I said, we got, you know, Satan,
right?
Jesus,
Satan panties.
Everything. We got everything.
We got
It's all, everybody's represented.
We got our pride flag. We got our inclusive flag with all the trans.
Yeah.
We got. If you're into taxidermy, we appreciate. We've got taxidermy everywhere.
Clowns?
Yeah, creepy clowns.
Yeah.
Photo ops for the gram.
That's
aliens.
Right.
So we've
Aliens.
which I think speaks to like, all right.
You know, and we do
You're gonna
book
get
clubs
more.
and comedy events, and so, like, I think the millennials will go out. They just need an event to do it, and that's why we still strive on, at least me or someone in higher ups of Illuminated, go to beer festivals and see who's drinking and how are they doing it.
I think the beer festivals are going to become a barometer for the market. Truly,
I think
like,
coming
who's
out
going
of
to the
COVID,
festivals. And you two have a job coming up when you go to a festival in May.
Yeah,
you're gonna have to
all the festivals.
eyes on the prize.
no, like when we went to Museum of Science and Industry, there was definitely a 21 to 26 vibe going.
Oh, okay.
They didn't really know how to navigate the beer festival. I had 5 people come to my table, all with empty glasses. One person got beer, and then they walked around huddled and drank from that one beer. And I was like, you all can get one.
Oh, you sweet,
paid-
sweet
give it
baby
to-
child.
You paid for it.
You can have as many
But,
as you'd like.
You know, but
Go
you know,
ahead.
yeah,
Little pumpkin, how cute are you?
But with that presentation, the thing that blew me away, because I've worked in bars either as the DJ or the bouncer or the bartender
Sure.
or all the things, is that the millennials don't want to be talked to.
Oh, really?
No.
That was the major point of the thing. They're going out drinking. They want you to have stuff. You have to have stuff. You have to have trivia, a band, an event, so on. And they want all the information. They want the QR code. They want the menu that tells them everything about the beer. They don't want you to tell them about the beer.
Really?
But they want all the information about the beer. And that's
More
what,
snow leopard behavior.
That made my brain go,
Yeah. I mean, I would much rather get my information about a beer
From a
sitting at
human?
the bartender
because we're
than
Gen
talking to
Xers
the bartender. Yeah.
That's what we do. I mean, we
That's-
also
it-
grew up
that's-
not looking at screens, so we know how to
Right.
have conversations, which I
Yeah.
do think is a very important thing in
No,
general.
They want to pull up the screen and know everything about the beer from the screen.
Okay.
They want to make sure you provide that information. When they come, they want something to do.
Okay. I see you got the game chest over there.
We have the game chest.
You can play games.
You know, we have pinball. We have go figure, a skateboard video game. I wonder.
What? Come on.
you can't tear your ACL on that.
Can I say real quick, as a millennial, that I hate millennials?
There's
Can I
Cody.
just say that really fast? I just a millennial. I hate millennials.
Oh no!
You know
They're
what?
the
Thank you for
worst.
chiming into that. That's wonderful.
Like I can't.
Why are you a
Come on.
self-hating millennial?
I don't hate myself.
No,
Oh.
Cody likes himself very much.
hate the
Yeah,
others.
almost too much.
I think Cody is a world changer.
Right.
He's going to change the world.
He's a disruptor.
You're
He's a
like
disruptor.
Cody?
10 feet closer to sitting at the table.
Yeah.
You know what?
He chimed in. He kissed up to the olds so he could sometimes get to the table.
I'm sitting at a table. I'll take that for
You're
now.
at a table, not the table. All right. Well, on that note, now that Cody has jumped in, our thanks again to Jason Monk. He is the Renaissance Manager. Don't forget that adjure at the end of his title, because he is the Renaissance Manager here at Illuminated Brew Works. And Rick Julien, who is the sales manager, he also handles all the production schedule for Illuminated Beer Works and Brew Works. And thank you guys for being here. I hope you had a good time.
Thanks
We're
for
glad to
coming.
have you here.
Yeah,
we
fun
we
stuff,
love
right?
being here.
Yeah, fun stuff.
nice.
Good stuff. Well,
didn't hurt. Didn't hurt at all.
If you want to support the show, see, Cody, I have the exact script. If you want to support the show, please buy our merchandise at craftybrewerspod.com. We have shirts, hats, phone cases, and other merch for you or anyone you know who loves beer.
Including my mom.
Yes, we have one that's going to say "Ride it hard till it's warm."
We will not
That's
have
coming
that.
soon, probably
it's
for
not.
Mother's Day.
It's not.
It's going to be great.
Never gonna
It's
happen.
going to be a nice brooch.
Not even a little bit.
And it'll say it, and it'll pop out in 3D. But every purchase
No.
you make directly supports the show by helping us cover our editing software, web hosting experiences. Cody's, I don't know what all he's got over there at the kids' table. Catherine, what's today's featured merch?
Today's featured merch is actually going to be what you are wearing. We've talked about this phrase quite a bit. We've had this. We've talked about it a lot on the show. I just want beer-flavored beer. And sometimes you do, and sometimes you don't. But
Right.
if you do want beer-flavored beer and you want the world to know it, get the shirt. It's great. There's some beer-flavored
There's
beer right there.
beer-flavored beer right there.
We love it.
Man does not live by beer-flavored beer alone, though. But sometimes you do want
Sometimes
that.
you do, absolutely. Socials. That's our next thing that we need to cover.
Yes.
If you like to be on your phone and you want to follow us on social media, that would be great. We are at crafty_brewers_pod on Instagram. You can also hit up our website, craftybrewers.com. This is it. This is you're on the rest of it.
All right.
Right?
So
Or do I can do
it
the rest
doesn't
of it.
matter if you're a brewer and
Sure.
you want to be like these guys and be really cool, like Illuminated.
We're not
and
cool.
come on.
We're not cool.
You know
We're
what? You are
we're
as
just-
cool as our
we're just
generation
weird.
gets, and
We're
that's
just
pretty
weird.
cool.
We're building up a thing.
I'll be
Ixnay. Hey, if you want to be as cool as the guys at Illuminated, drop us a line. CraftyBrewersPod@gmail.com. We'll put you on. Maybe you know a brewery that you hang out at all the time and you're like, these guys are cool. We want you to talk to them. Hey, drop us a line. At the aforementioned CraftyBrewersPod@gmail.com. That's, yeah. If that's it, I think that's it, right?
Looking at Cody's lovely
Oh
face.
yeah, but it was. We must say it was produced, edited, napped on, and sat by the man at the children's table, our executive producer, award-winning podcast producer Cody Gough, Esquire the Third.
Squire the Third is great.
Yes.
Squire the Third is great.
So for Crafty Brewers, she's Katherine Vallow.
He's Brian Noonan. Don't go chasing waterfalls. Stick to rivers and the lakes that you're used to. I wanted to quote TLC.
Thank
It
you,
felt
Left
good.
Eye.